the main item of export in the year, well, around 1790, somewhere around there. It became the main item of export. And the estates were producing tons and tons of sugar every year and exporting it. Tobago had several ports. Tobago was a place that had its own economy. For a man to leave England, quite in London, and come down here to work agriculture and become rich right here, and to coin a new name for wealth, rich as a Tobago planter, then it says that something good was happening in Tobago. I want you to understand that, because sometimes they just tell us that nothing good will come out of here. Agriculture dead now. But I want to draw a nexus between the sugar crop, its success, and the collapse of the sugar industry and the ruin of Tobago's economy. During that time, from the 1790s to about 1880, Tobago did well with the cultivation and the export of sugar, etc. Very well. Sugar was like gold back then. All right, and commented in the 1800s, we had problems with Haiti, and so sugar was going good. But understand this. In the 1800s, we had the abolition of slave. Remember that? The abolition of slavery. By the Abolition of Slavery Act, that was 1834. Remember that? 1833, 1834. Yeah? That was important. Because then they couldn't bring men from abroad again to come as slaves and drive them. They could only come as workers. All right? Not as slaves. Slaves, you were the owners of those who owned the plantation. But as workers, you were not their owners. You were not their servants. Well, you weren't owned by them. Are you with me tonight? I'm going somewhere with this. Then come 1876. This is a Tobago story. It's very important. 1876, where they were workers, not slaves, workers in Roxbury on the plant estate. There was a riot over wages and trucking system and different things, and a corporal by the name of Belmana came down, a white man corporal, to break up the fight. He shot and killed a woman by the name of Mary Jane Tom, and she died. And those who were working on the plantation, the workers, wouldn't take that. They wanted blood. Long story short, they took Belmana to trial, and the people didn't allow him to stand trial, because when he went to the Roxbury Magistrates Court, and they said, "Come to the High Court in town," before he came out, they seized him, overpowered the police around the place, killed him, and began to set the place afire in Roxbury. My four parents were part of that. I will go on to say this. After that, to quell the riots in Tobago, it was something reflective of Haiti, because they knew of Haiti before. To quell the riots in Haiti in 1776, they sent from Tobago to Grenada via boat, to send to Barbados for a naval fleet, British naval fleet, to come back to Roxbury and suppress the riots. The riots were suppressed, people were arrested, some died, etc. It took 5 days of rioting. Now, that's important to the economy of Tobago and the governance structure. Back then, Tobago governed itself, its own constitution, its own judiciary, its own treasury, everything, its own public service, etc. Tobago had that. However, at that moment, there was a turn in the thinking of the British. In September of that happened in May 1876. In September of that year, they changed the constitution. All right? And they then had Crown Colony rule. They pulled that back, and the Queen was not ruling. There was no longer anybody being elected to any position in the THA. And immediately after that, I'm trying to speed it up. Immediately after that, in the year 1818, sugar collapsed. Why sugar collapsed? They introduced beet sugar in 1880 throughout the entire world. It was a cheaper form of sugar, and people were buying it, and so there was no need for the sugarcane sugar, and so the sugar industry collapsed. More than that, the West Indian Bank closed. That was a bank that would give people loans, etc. Closed. So without funding and without that proper support, the sugar industry in Tobago closed. From that moment onwards, Tobago was on the road of becoming a tragedy among the Caribbean nations. Understand your history tonight. A few years later, 1880 that happened. In 1889, they said, we can't manage Tobago anymore. let Tobago become a ward of Trinidad. Let Tobago become an island that will be taken care of by Trinidad. And so from then to now, Tobago is still a ward. If you look at the new constitutional amendment bill called the 2020 bill, right? That bill speaks of creating equality of status between the island of Trinidad and the island of Tobago, and Tobago will no longer be called a ward. Folks, I want to say to you tonight, there's much to be said, but we are keeping this for an hour, so I'm only giving you a tease. All right? If you understand our history, agriculture was killed because of the riot, because they had no more slaves. And if the workers fighting and getting on and burning down the plantation and killing people, why fight up with agriculture? They don't have to take that. They abandoned the thing, went back to British, lump you with Trinidad. Trinidad said, what? Nah, forget agriculture. Even in the 1930s, they attempted to fix agriculture in the 1930s. And Tobago was exporting hundreds of thousands of produce, folks. Hundreds of thousands of produce to Trinidad. Right? Hundreds of thousands. You could check the book, the Bulldog and the Bocas and the Bulldog, something like that. Check the book and you will see there. Yeah? Hundreds of thousands of produce. Agriculture was going well. That's when Tobago used to feed Trinidad. But then came Hurricane Flora in 1963. And the tragedy for Tobago continues. In 1963, there were 7,500 houses in Tobago. Much I say? 500 houses in Tobago. But after Hurricane Flora, which is one of the deadliest Atlantic hurricanes in history, with winds of 193 kilometers to 250 kilometers per hour. Now, the maximum speed you could drive on the highway is 100. But if you have a car, a fast car, a big engine car, the maximum could go is 250. Now imagine you mash right down to the pedal and the car running like that. That is the speed of wind coming. It killed 24 people and destroyed, of the 7,500 homes, it destroyed 6,250 homes. My mother told us a story that at that time where she was living, they'll come out of the house because I bought house. People had bought house those days, and they went on that concrete house. But something tell them move from the concrete house. As they move and they went across back, concrete house fall down. There are pictures of it, which we're going to put up in this live. You're going to see it, of devastation. Tobago is a place that has known tragedy. In came the Williams Party, obviously. They got money from the US to fix Tobago. They never fixed Tobago with the money. Check that out. They got millions to fix Tobago. And back then, the plan was to build a highway from Crown Point straight to Charleville and do many development, because Tobago was literally flat. When you have 7,500 homes and 6,250 has been completely destroyed, and you will see the picture of what we're talking about, you will understand Tobago was worse than Grenada with Hurricane Ivan. And yet Grenada came back. They took the money and they did what they want to do with it, because Tobago was a ward. You know about the story about Cinderella? Huh? And Cinderella was treated as if she was a ward until somebody said, hey, you're no ward and you're the princess. I want to tell you tonight, as I get ready to close tonight, Tobago, you ain't no ward. You are a princess. And here the PDP is coming, and we will be trying every single foot out until we get it right fit. We want you to come with us, because Tobago must take on the adorning where it stands among nations, because you are of value. Lift your chest, Tobago, walk proud. Talk your language. No bother with them. That's part of your culture. Understand your culture is different from Trinidad. I make that quite plain. So when I'm talking in Trinidad, I'm talking publicly for the PSC. Let us use the local language. And they just like it, you know. Trust me, they like it. They like it. And in this campaign, we decide, in going forward, we will do something unique. So our team is not, let's us fix this. No. fix this. When? So as I get ready to close, I remember I'll continue some of the time again. As I get ready to close, I want to say to you, let we fix this. I'm not hearing you. Tobago is in a broken down place where we have been pillaged by the PNM and its cohorts and its agents. They're fooling us and blind us and rob us of education, every single thing. And they tell us that good for you, that good for you. Not now, but since way back when. I am a son of some slave. Farley is a son. You are a son. You are a daughter of slaves who came here. They will turn in the grave if we turn our backs on Tobago. Tobago, as how she may look right now, not dressed up, when Tobago is dressed up under the PDP, will look attractive. When we dress up Tobago, Tobago will look attractive. So as I close off tonight, I will say 3 times, and I want you to say no. Tobago, let me fix this. No. Tobago, let me fix this. No. Tobago, let me fix this. No. I thank you, Tobago. We will fix